What is up? Welcome back in to the podcast Brave in the Attempt, where we interview people with and without disabilities and just talk about people with disabilities and what they've overcome, cool things they've gone through, and sports. It's also a sports podcast, and we talk to people who have just wanted to learn more about Special Olympics, where have been involved, and how it impacted their lives. I'm your host, Wyatt Spalding. I'm a Special Olympic athlete. And today we're joined with my twin brother, Wes Spalding, who was a fan of Special Olympics, then turned coach, then turned unified player.
Yep.
How's it going, Wes?
It's going pretty good. Good to be on.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you on. So let's get into it. Like growing up, Wes and I were twins. I'm a minute older than Wes. Like to throw that out there, because let's face it, you do look older than I do. You've always been the technically bigger brother. Wasn't allowed to say.
I usually don't let him forget that either. So
Yeah,
just want to throw that out there.
Older, but not bigger. So, but growing up, Wes and I, we had a bunch of fun together, being twins, and always someone to play sports with. And you remember the first sport we kind of started playing was baseball, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And we were like 3 probably, but we had
Had
those
the
Velcro, gloves.
the easy gloves and stuff.
Yeah, that I could not catch with.
Yeah.
It's just like, I remember you saying like, how can you not catch? It's a Velcro glove.
I don't think I've ever said it, but in my head, I was like, how is this complicated? Literally, you just stick your hand out and the ball should stick.
Your facial expression said it all.
Yeah.
What is wrong with them?
Yeah.
But yeah, just growing up being brothers, just like any brothers, just because I had a disability doesn't mean we didn't do things that brothers do.
Mm-hmm.
Tease each other, bully each other, get on each other's nerves, but also hang out all the time.
Yeah. It'd be getting a fight, and about an hour later, we're outside shooting hoops together, or something like that.
Yeah. So let's get into like Special Olympics. You remember kind of like growing up, or I guess backtrack a little bit. You remember like growing up, like playing sports, and then kind of like how we played together, like YMCA baseball and basketball, but then we started to kind of like separate. Like you would go play on the higher teams, or I just wouldn't go out for the team. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I mean, growing up, obviously we played every sport together, so it's pretty obvious that I had a upper hand whenever we played one-on-one. We did a good job of kind of making our rules to make it fair. But yeah, it was kind of, like some writing on the wall. I knew as we got older, you probably wouldn't be able to play on our teams with our friends and stuff like that.
I don't think I really knew that. Like, oh, I'm just gonna play with Wes and my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then like middle school came and couldn't play, which was pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like back to like how we'd play one-on-one. So you remember like the way we'd play? It'd be like the 21, but you'd spot me like 15, 16 points.
Yeah, and I had like two steals, 3 blocks.
Yeah, that's when we started.
I got 1 layup, and then I would wear those ankle weights.
Yeah, so Wes bought these ankle weights because I have cerebral palsy. I have this, it holds you back. So Wes made it hard for him to play too with the ankle weights. And that was cool because it's like, oh, like I'm kind of like something's pulling me back, but now you got the weights. But it like made your legs really strong too, so that was good.
Yeah, I learned how to shoot on fatigue, and I learned how to shoot through fouls because we also made it you could foul me, so I'd be going up for a shot, and then you would just grab my arm, and I had to learn how to like rip through people's arms.
Yeah.
And ironically, our senior year, like senior night, that's how I made the game winner. Was this dude like took me out he literally just football tackled me.
Wow.
And I was getting taken out as I was going to shoot, and I made it. But we played so many one-on-one games where I was just getting hit, whether kind of like in the legs or in the arms, that I could channel it out. So it was like all that practice of our one-on-one. We didn't realize it was practice for that like one shot. So I think, I was the only one that knew that at the time.
And so did I, because I remember watching it like online. I'm watching the game online, and it's like, yeah, aren't you glad I found you all the time then?
Yeah, you were like, that was me. Yeah, I really coached that shot. Yeah.
You were like, you'd sweat so much. I would literally slide off you.
Yeah.
It was gross.
Just the Nebraska humidity.
Yeah.
Helped me a little bit.
But yeah, just growing up, we were competitive. And then, I'm on the bench. I'm on your team, but I'm really the manager. Second year was fun, like 7th grade, because was it you or dad? Someone told me, like, why don't you just keep stats? Because it was more fun than just sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
So I did that. But then 7th grade, I joined Special Olympics. And you remember my first basketball tournament? You came to watch me play at Boys Town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember the guy on the other team doing push-ups at halftime
Oh,
and intimidate
really?
you guys. Yeah, that's what I remember the most about that.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
That's
I
funny.
remember your couple layups you had your first game or second game or something like that.
Yeah, I had like 4 points one game.
Yeah. I just remember, never been around Special Olympics before. So it was like I was taking it all in. Thought it was pretty cool. Never knew it was a thing. And that was cool to like see it play because you've watched so many of my games. It was cool to like be able to watch your games.
I just remember like before tip off, like, and then you, mom, and dad were like walking in.
Mm.
I looked at you, I just like nodded at you, and you nodded back, and that's what I remember.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. Plus, I like started,
Yeah.
so that was pretty cool because it's like, wow, I never start. I
Yeah.
usually sit on the bench. So
You just learned how to dribble. You still dribbling pretty high, but you were the only person that could control the dribble.
yeah, and then I could play defense. I knew how to pressure the ball.
Yeah.
Because I think just from playing one-on-one with you, it's just like that's what you did.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could pressure. I could play defense, dribble. My shot was kind of bad. Like I mean, I made like 2 layups. And then I also remember that year at state, I had a really good game. I scored like 12 points, which is a lot for Special Olympics.
Yeah.
So I remember that. And then you remember like when we made state championship and lost that first year, I was like really upset.
Kind of now that you mention it.
Yeah, I got in trouble too because dad didn't like my attitude after the game. So at home, and I got in trouble.
Yeah.
We both got in trouble with dad, like being too competitive,
Yeah, me and Wyatt were sore losers, and
not towards other people, but more towards ourselves, really.
Yeah,
we didn't really treat like our teammates or opponents bad, but it's more like us, like, oh, we played bad and like we suck and or something like that. And then it's like, well, and then our dad's like, you guys aren't like the only player on the team. Like, yeah, but if I would have made this shot, we would have won.
Yeah.
If so and so would have made this shot, you could have won. Like, we just took it, and we still take it like that seriously.
Well, like as I got older too, I would just take it like I didn't say the right things at the right time. I should have spoke up here. I should have done this play, and people are like, you can't do shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And kind of back to the loser thing, people were like, oh, you got to learn how to be a good loser, right?
Yeah, we were not.
Well, I'm like, there's no way I would want to be a good loser. That means you just start getting good at losing.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll learn from my losses. I'll never be a good loser. Yeah. And it was just like, I just needed, like, honestly, I'm better now, but back then I need like a full 24 hours to come down from the loss.
Right.
And just like let it go. Just kind of like when you win, you celebrate for like 24 hours. And on the next one, if you lose, let it hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
Let that pain, don't forget the pain, because that's going to motivate you to get back in the gym, focus on what you need to focus on. A lot of people, I think, just wave it off, or there's so many games now. Kids just like, oh, it's just another game. It's like, every game is like, could be your last technically, because you never know what could happen. And you should just be thankful for it and want to get better for that next game.
Yeah, for sure.
So when coaches say be a good loser, parents say that, I'm like, nah, don't be a good loser. Be a good learner.
Yeah.
And don't be a jerk to your teammates or other people, but like let it hurt a little bit so you can get back in the gym and get better.
Right, exactly. I know, like, it's not just one game. Like, I think we both learned from the situation of me not being able to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, it's like, well, it was taken away from me in 6th grade. So like, what if I get sick or I can't play anymore? Or like in 5th grade, I was sick for like a year and a half or something. And I didn't play sports for like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And then, so every game to me is like, well, every game matters because you never know.
Mm-hmm.
And is that kind of like how you were like too? Like, oh, why I can't play. So it's like, what if I can't play someday?
Yeah, it was just kind of like multiple things would go through my head. One of them would be like, I could be in your seat.
Yeah.
Flip of a coin. We're twins. You have 50-50 shot. And I got the good end.
Part.
Yeah. Yeah, just be honest. Like I got the good end of the deal.
Yeah.
Which is another conversation on how like we wouldn't have experienced all the cool things if you wouldn't have had cerebral palsy too.
Yeah.
But kind of back to this, when I would like play a game, I would just think, really, I don't think, and it's kind of harsh, but I would always think I don't really deserve this jersey. And that guy doesn't deserve the jersey either. Like everybody who's never stepped on a court probably deserves it more.
Yeah. Because
they probably have played a lot harder and they wanted a lot more and they wouldn't take advantage of the opportunity as much. And I think a lot of us who it just comes easy, you make starters for your teams or you play on your teams and you're just like, I don't know, greedy. You want more. Like guys complain about playing time. I'm like, well, you obviously have inefficient minutes. Like you should just honestly do better. Like if you want to play more, like you got to go put in the work. Even if you're playing for 3 minutes, you should be super efficient for those 3 minutes if you want more playing time. And so back like when I would step on the court, where I was guarding, I was like, I'm going to deserve this jersey more than that guy because my brother deserves it more than me. And that's just like letting you down by not being that guy. He might be better than me, and 90% of the time they were better than me. But like just hustle wise and being a good teammate and just doing my best. And maybe it wasn't enough that day, but at least I could say like I deserved that jersey for that game. And it doesn't like you do it once and then the next game you deserve the jersey. It's like you deserve the jersey after the game.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you like deserve it because like our coaches in high school would say like, "Oh, Wes works hardest and Wes is always in the gym."
Mhm.
We also had no life, like basketball, school, home, back to the gym.
Yeah.
Like those are the three places we'd go.
Yeah.
And so, but like getting back into like Special Olympics, so I was a manager for Weston's teams, like starting in middle school all the way through high school. So I go by freshman year of high school, my third year. We have good coaches, you know, but like all of them either used to play basketball or never played basketball.
Yeah.
And I was like, we need someone that plays basketball like right now.
Yeah.
Wes. And it wasn't like, hey, Wyatt, can I coach your team? I just like came home one day. I think we were sitting at the dinner table. I just remember like I kind of blurted out like, hey Wes, you're gonna coach my team.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're like, I am. And then Dad's like, yeah, that'd be a good idea. And I was like, yeah, I'm manager for your team, so why wouldn't you help my team? And you get the better deal because you're a coach.
Yeah.
So I just remember like that first year, you kind of like the assistant because I can't remember who was the head coach, but I remember like we had a head coach, so you were like the assistant for that team. But then the sophomore year on, you were always like our head coach.
Yeah.
I remember.
I thought maybe was it freshman or sophomore year was my first year?
Freshman year.
Oh man.
Sophomore year was Kenny's first year, remember?
Okay. Yeah, and I asked him to be my assistant coach.
Yeah. So Kenny Bristol is Wes and I's best friend.
Third brother.
What?
He's the third brother.
Yeah, pretty much third brother.
Yeah.
And so he lived like down the street from Wes and I, and we always hung out all the time. So my sophomore year, we're like, oh, let's get Kenny.
Yeah.
And so we got Kenny to be the assistant.
Were we kind of like the same deal? Like, Kenny, you're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we told him too, like, I mean, it does, like, it'll look good when you apply for college. Like, just do it.
Yeah.
All right.
And for those of you who don't know Kenny, he was like one of the smartest kids in our school.
Exactly.
So we knew he was gonna go to wherever he wanted to go.
Exactly. The dude got like a master's at Duke. So
yeah.
Smart dude.
Yeah.
Too bad he couldn't. If he was 6'8", maybe he could have played at Duke.
Yeah. And he got a 0 ticket, so we're still mad about it, Kenny. Just to let you know. I know.
We'll rant about that later.
Yeah.
But anyway, you guys go and coach, and I thought you guys were pretty good coaches. What did you learn from coaching special? Because it's probably different than if you would go coach like a middle school or high school select team.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was intimidating walking in because I'm 16 and, we're like the youngest people in the gym.
Right.
So I'm coaching people who are older than me, and I just had to like earn respect too, because nobody really knew who I was. And so when that was going on, I was like kind of wondering like, do people like me, stuff like that. But everybody like welcomed me in really easily and made friends right away. And it was fun, like getting there 10, 15 minutes before, because, people come up to you. Some people give you hugs. Some people want to like play you one-on-one. Some people want to play horse. Some people want to show you the shot. Some people just told me about their week. So
yeah,
that was kind of one of the most fun parts. And like being a coach, I just didn't know patience. And so I would just kind of like get on players sometimes, like, hey, you got to make that layup, not like in a mean way.
Yeah, just like,
hey, like we got to make it. But then I would see them get down on themselves. And then I was like, okay, that's not working.
Yeah.
So instead of focusing on their past mistake, I would just kind of like try to give them confidence for their next one. I'd be like, hey, next one, you got it. Next one's in. Or a lot of times, had trouble with guys or girls getting to the block and they get underneath the block.
Oh yeah.
So the block on basketball is a good position underneath the hoop where you can use the backboard to make a layup. And if you get too far underneath the hoop, you can't use the backboard.
Right.
So that's a good example of how I would just like, hey, get to the block next time and it will go in.
Right.
And I just saw a lot more success with players that way. And so it taught me one patience, taught me how to kind of know how to coach people. Because for you, I could just go up to you and be like, you have to make that. Or I just get on you like, dude, you need to stop shooting past the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we'd be down, like, why? I need you to start shooting the ball. Quit passing it. So, yeah, that was fun too, because it was just finding everybody's, I don't know the right word. I guess like the right formula to coach them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you would like as years went on, you would get kind of more on them because they started to know you
Mhm.
and they respected you pretty well, and it
Yeah.
was just kind of like if they missed, like let's take our time and use this part of the backboard to make the use the corner left corner
Mhm.
to make a left hand layup or like you they shoot a left hand layup, like try to use your left hand for the left hand layup,
Yeah.
and I think like it helped too because like good coaches like you and Lynn and Dylan and Corey, they all would just you guys would push us.
And Paul.
And Paul, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember Paul.
Don't forget about Paul, man. Come
Like,
on.
sorry, man. There's too many coaches.
I got you, Paul. Don't worry.
Yeah. So you guys would just like push us and like wouldn't like yell at us. Like maybe your voice would get stern, but like if you want Special Olympics to be like any other sport, that's what you gotta do. You gotta push the players.
Yeah.
I think people are too afraid to push the players.
Yeah. I think it takes, you can't just do 1 year and then leave, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because as I did it over the years, I got started to know players better. And then I knew when they were being lazy. And I'd be like, dude, you're just being lazy right now.
Yeah.
I know you can make that, or I know you can do this. You just don't want to do it right now.
Right.
And then they just respect you that way and hopping in practice too and like showing them how to do it. And
yeah,
that kind of builds respect. It's like, oh, like, okay, he's doing the layup the right way, like how he preaches it. So
and sometimes they'd miss it, but then you guys would praise them like, oh, your form was good. It just like went out.
Yeah.
Or like shooting from the outside is like extremely hard.
Yeah.
So like if we like shot from the outside, probably a good percentage for Special Olympics is like, I don't know, 3%.
Yeah. If that,
like let's
that'd
face
be
it.
very good.
Yeah. So I mean, let's face it, like the games are like in the 20s, at the end of the game sometimes. And you guys would just be like, if they like hit the rim or something, like, oh, that was a good shot. Even a game, like we took good shots. It's just not fun with basketball.
Yeah.
You'd be on one game off the next. Well, what was it like coaching football? Because football was different. I mean, you could kind of see more of their athletic ability sometimes.
Yeah, I liked football because I had more control of the game.
Right.
Because all the players would run over after each play and you'd show them the play. So that was fun because then I could put players in spots to be successful.
Yeah.
And it helped with you being quarterback because you watch football and you knew the game. So we do a lot of like fake handoffs, or I'd be like, look them off this way, but then throw it this way. So with you, it was fun because I could be more strategic. And then somebody else who maybe doesn't understand the plays well, I'd be just like, you're just going to run 5 steps and then run right. Like it could be simple as that, or just show them the picture.
Yeah.
And then you'd hit them, set them up for success. And
or sometimes it was like just when White says like hike, just look.
Yeah.
Because they'd be rushing. It's
exactly.
Like I'd throw it to them and they'd be still running.
Yeah.
It's like just look and step over the line so I can get it to them. But
Yeah.
I mean, that worked. I mean, it was kind of like sometimes the place will break down. I was just like, I'm just gonna throw it to whoever open.
Yeah.
Or just like I'd throw it to like special me, and I knew like I could hit all the time, like JR.
Yeah.
And I don't care if he's double team, I'm just gonna throw it to him.
Yeah, we had a JR play because we scored every time.
Yeah. Every time on it too. Like
I try not to do it all the time because I'd be like, okay, we're gonna leave this for third down.
Yeah.
We'll try to get some other guys the ball. And it was easiest when they were fast. Right. So if we had players that are fast, we just hand off to them and they take off.
Yeah, because like I almost like couldn't throw them because I would like underthrow them or throw them behind them because they were so fast.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, let's just hand them the ball. Like,
yeah.
They got it.
What was it? One time we even we did a handoff, then we had you go out for a pass.
Yeah.
Was that a handoff to JR?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. You dropped it.
I did, didn't I?
That's okay.
I didn't play wide receiver, Wes.
I know.
You knew it better than everyone.
It was perfect though. You were right there. It's like for a 2-point conversion.
You played catch with me. You knew I mean, all my catches are one-handed catches.
You did have some good ones. I remember one time we were I wasn't there the first day because I was in college.
Yeah.
And then we had like a fundraiser game or something like that. And I like left it to come coach you guys sporadically. And then we were playing like the same teams and we made it to like the championship game and you guys like lost by maybe 20 or 30 or something to them. And then we're about to beat them, but then you threw an interception, and you were just like so mad. And then I just remember, I don't know if I grabbed your shirt. I feel like I did. I like grabbed you. Was like, I need you to let it go and get your head in the game because we need you in this overtime. And you kind of like shook it off because you were just like really beating yourself up. And then we just did a little slant to JR because it was in Special Olympics. The overtime is you get 2 plays for the longest yards.
Yeah, it's like yardage. And I was like, why don't we just score then?
Yeah.
Like,
But we just did a little slant, which is like 2 steps or 2 yards out, and then they cut across the field, and you hit JR in stride, and he ran for a touchdown first play. I was like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good about it. And then they had
threw an
like a couple Hail
interception.
Marys, or did they? Yeah, did
Yeah,
they throw
they
an
got the ball
interception?
back. They threw an interception. We won.
Yeah,
And it's just like, but like I remember like going up to the line. It was like a movie. This is what I've always dreamed of. Like the moment.
yeah,
This is like my first crunch time game,
hmm
and I'm not gonna fail. Like, and we just hit them and boom, scored.
yeah,
So that was really cool. And but then like that's tradition. So that was traditional, and you coached us.
yeah.
What are some of the ups? Because now unified is a big thing, and it's great.
hmm
But I think people need to learn too. Like, well, traditional is still good too.
Yeah.
So what did you like about traditional?
I liked it because all of it, all the glory was given to the
Athletes.
athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just think honestly, I don't think unified is taught. Like they don't have like a unified meeting and teach unified players how to play in basketball, especially because that's what I ended up playing a lot.
Yeah.
Football is a little easier because you just can't have a unified player throw to a unified player. It's got to be a special Olympian
Yeah.
to unified. I mean, you could take over a game and just constantly be
You
throwing.
could hand off to the unified player.
Yeah.
And which I've never seen that really.
Mhm.
But then like too, I think both is great. But like with traditional, it was harder to play quarterback.
Yeah.
This past season, I played on a traditional flag football team.
Mhm.
I kind of liked it because like, oh, when I completed, like it was hard. Like, look, the play kind of breaks down.
It was like a huge success if we completed a play. 'Cause sometimes you would hit a lot of guys in the hands,
Yeah,
but it would just be like in a very tight pocket or
it'd be
it's
like,
just tough catch.
yeah, they either ran the run out or I would throw it too hard,
Mhm.
and you were always like, you gotta know who you're throwing to,
Yeah.
and so that taught me how to put more on it or take it off who I was
Mhm.
throwing to,
Yeah.
and then with unified, it's like, well, if they're not looking or they're not open, I can just find a unified player and like throw it to them. What was our first year playing unified flag football? I think college.
I think we only did it 1 year, didn't we?
Yeah, like your junior or senior college.
Because I played it one time, but you weren't playing.
Yeah, I was sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I remember like when I did play with you, like we didn't score for a little bit in the first quarter. And I was just like, all right, I'm gonna throw to Wes so we can get on the board. And
Yeah.
that's what I would do. Like I tried to get us on the board. So I just started unified like you or Kenny.
Mhm.
And then after that I tried to use guys like decoys and then just like pump fake to you and then throw to special in.
Yeah.
But then with like just traditional, it's like, well, nah, somebody's gotta be open or they gotta look because there's no unified player out here to like help us out.
Yeah. I
But
kind of like traditional in that sense too, because it gives more responsibility to the Special Olympic athletes.
yeah,
It's like, hey, like this is might be like the highest expectation anybody's ever put on them.
yeah.
But I'm like, I know you can do it.
Mhm.
You just gotta want to do it. And I need you to focus. And
Right.
maybe it doesn't happen the first 4 or 5, maybe even 7 times.
Mhm.
But then like you get that one, and it's a pretty cool feeling as a coach anyway.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, we finally got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Especially like on 2-point conversions.
Yeah.
It's just like we're like over 4 on 2-point conversions. We need this to win the game.
Yeah, that was just a good time to get maybe an athlete who wasn't understanding even the concept of football that well.
Yeah, and it's like, okay.
It's like, okay, we're really close. Maybe we can get them like a touch here or a
Like
catch.
Rad.
Yeah.
Rad was like, it was everyone loved Rad, but like he just couldn't try for him to catch. So what we did was just like on a 2-point conversion, we would like, okay, Rad, we're gonna throw it to you.
Yeah.
And we would just set him up or we just like give it to him and let him run.
I freaking love Rad.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I would be like coaching and he would just like tug on me, and his like speech wasn't very good because of a disability, but we like developed our own communication. He would just be like, coach me in, you put me in, kind of like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes less words than that. I remember the first time I was like, I don't know what he's talking about. And I was like, oh, okay, I know what he's saying.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, I got you in, Rad. I'll get you in. And he just gets like so excited.
He's like, yeah.
He'd be like, yes. And then he'd ask me like the next play, like, I got you, Rad. I got you. You're going in a little bit. Cause I sometimes just put him on defense and have him rush. Or put him at like running back, and
Sometimes he
I would
wouldn't
be like,
move.
Rad, I need you to move. Like, Rad, make sure you run. Because sometimes the ball would get hiked and he just wouldn't understand to
I
run.
used him as a blocker.
Yeah.
Just like run behind him.
Yeah. I was like, Rad, do you realize what you just did? You just blocked him. He's like, and he just got so excited.
Yeah, because like I mean, help me get like give me more time.
Yeah.
So, but
Or I remember we tried to get him a score one time. He was so close, but he still ran in, still thought he scored. I'm
yeah,
like, okay, well, like we didn't score Rad, but that was still really good.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
And
sure.
little things like that was a lot of fun.
So then we go on, and then by senior year of high school, which I didn't play because I had my back surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Like you played Unified, and then our first year was freshman year of college. We played Unified together.
Yeah.
So Wes is a Unified player. I'm an athlete, so it's like a Unified was, and that was kind of cool. We got to be teammates because we didn't get to play high school basketball together except for that one game I got to play.
Yeah.
Which was like disappointing. I went into a high school game for like the last 90 seconds, our first game of senior year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't make a shot. We won the game, but it kind of like felt like we lost.
Yeah.
But I think like just because I was going to go and have this surgery,
Mm-hmm.
it was like disappointing. But then Special Olympics gave us that opportunity to like play basketball again together.
Yeah.
And we had so many like great moments.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like the first tournament we played, we had like a huge team. It was like 11 players on the team.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And like I was a sixth man. And I was really surprised because like, I came back from the surgery.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like our second game of the season was like super close.
Mm-hmm.
We lost by like I think one or something.
Yeah.
But that was so cool that we were out there together.
It was fun.
And then I think we ended up winning that state then that year.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just cool that we were teammates. And then you were like a center.
Yeah.
I mean, like a post. Was that very fun because you were just like grabbing rebounds and block. Like sometimes like if a Unified player tried to take over, you just block their shot.
Yeah, it would be frustrating when a Unified player would try to take over the game.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like no offense to them, they just weren't very good.
Yeah.
And so it was easy to just kind of shut them down a little bit. It was Unified was fun because I could just get boards and still play pretty hard.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't like go back up with it. A lot of times if I got a board, I could set somebody else up for a layup.
Mm-hmm.
And I would score if like you gave me a good pass or if another special Olympian gave me a good assist.
Yeah.
Because then that's like taking away the assist from the athlete.
Yeah.
So I'd score then, or I try not to score till the fourth quarter. And if we were down, I would get a couple buckets. So I wouldn't take over the game, but I would keep us competitive. Mm-hmm. And then, I never wanted to be in the position to like take the game-winning shot because like I have done that so many times. Like I want an athlete to have the opportunity to take it. And just kind of controlling that with rebounds and assists and pushing the ball. And because I could push the ball and make guys run and like feed them. And if you reward them when they run the floor, they'll keep doing it. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I think too, like it's not like you don't want Unified players to score at all. It's just like don't be scoring like 20 points. Like let a Special Olympian, like an athlete, score 20 points or something like that. Like I would get mad sometimes. Like I remember one time, I think someone shot it, you got the rebound, and then passed it back out. I was like, dude, why didn't you just put that back up?
Yeah, I would do that if we
shot, and then they missed, and you could have easily tipped that in.
I know, but if we're up, depending on how much we're up,
it was like
if we're up like 6 or 8, that's a good solid lead in Special Olympics.
Yeah,
I'd be okay. I don't need to put this up right now. But if it's like end of the game, maybe it's tied or we're just up, maybe a bucket or two.
Yeah.
And maybe I would, depending on how good their team was.
Yeah.
If they have like a really good Special Olympic player and maybe a good Unified player or a good Unified player is kind of like taking over, I'm like, okay, like I'm going to put this up to give us a solid cushion.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't trying to lose still. I would never was trying to lose.
It's like in the second half, we're down 5.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I kind of want the Unified player to like make a 3 or make a 2 and we're kind of back in the game a little bit.
Yeah. And if I put rules on Unified players, I would say you can't score double digits.
Yeah, like maybe 10 or less, but like And then there are a lot of teams that didn't do that, but then sometimes you run in. I think it's hard too because they're like you want. I think both of them are trying to think they're helping the athlete. Like know the athlete wants to win, so they take over. But then Unified player too, like I can't score. I'm trying to make it the athlete the hero. But then it's like, well, like we know if you're not really trying. And it's like, we need you to try. That's kind of the point.
Yeah, or like they wouldn't guard me because they knew I was scoring, so then I would score.
Yeah.
So they would have to guard me.
Like if you were like wide open.
Yeah,
it's
like literally nobody would even be on me. They just
Yeah.
wouldn't come out and guard me. I'm like, okay, well now you're forcing me to score,
Right.
so I'm going to. Like that situation, if you went over 10 points as a unified player, but they just keep not guarding you, then I think it'd be acceptable
Right.
because their team, like, if they're not gonna guard you, that's their choice.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like it's real basketball. Just because it's special moments, it's not like it's not real basketball.
Yeah.
I mean,
But we've been part of games too where like we were dominating,
yeah,
like with our Special Olympians, and then their unified guys took over.
gotta try to bring it back. And
Yeah, they literally scored over probably 60% of their points. And I'm like, that makes me mad because I just feel like it takes away from our Special Olympians from playing well. And it's taking away shots from the other team Special Olympians too.
yeah.
It's kind of crazy too because sometimes they're basketball players.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how's your basketball IQ not high enough to realize how to just get somebody else open?
Right.
Like a simple pick and roll or screen away helps all the time, or you just drive into their guy, turn around and flip it to him. It's an easy little shot.
Yeah.
I just think it's not taught on how to be a unified partner.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if that was taught, then it'd be a really fun, like competitive environment.
Yeah, and then you would see it's like team basketball.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just athletes, it's not just unified players, it's both.
Yeah.
And so, but we've had some really good moments.
Yeah.
There's that one game I went like 0 for 9 from 3.
Oh yeah.
And we are down by 7.
Wasn't it like 0-0 after the first quarter?
Yeah, the first quarter was like terrible.
All of our friends were there. I was like, I feel so bad. This game is so boring.
Yeah, like, and then it got but then like second quarter through fourth was like super exciting, and it went into double overtime. I think.
Well, we were down 7 with like a minute and a half left.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna lose.
Yeah,
I was like 7 in a minute and a half is like 14
right
in normal basketball. And I just remember being to the guys like, guys, just keep playing hard, like we can come back still. In my head, like, man, it's over. And then I like went in and got a quick 2. I can't remember how wasn't Kendrick. Yeah, we went a fast break and hit Kendrick for a layup, and we got another stop. And right before that timeout too, I yelled at you to stop shooting the ball because you were just not making anything.
I had a better look. I was like wide open one time.
Yeah,
and the 3 went in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just like, I like listened to you, but also ignored you because I was like, well, in the game club, like I know I'm not shooting well, but I know I can get it through the rim.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the athletes I've practiced this, I know I'm gonna get one to go in.
Yeah.
And then like we're down. Yeah, we're down 3.
Yep.
Are we? Yeah, down 3, and like Kenny has the ball. I think he passes to a Special Olympian, and it might have been Kendrick, or I don't remember who it was, but whoever missed, you grabbed the rebound. I just remember seeing your face, and you just threw it out to me.
Yeah.
And I was just like ready. I shot it. Couldn't see the hoop because, of course, like the tallest unified player was in my face.
Yeah.
I fell down, and then I swished it, and I like freaked out.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like, the other court almost. It was insane.
You were like high stepping, like doing high knees, did like this big circle all the way to half court, and we just like high fived, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then like I know I didn't make this part, but part of the game, I had a free throw to win it, and miss.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool still because we went double overtime.
Yeah,
and then both teams only scored 2 points in the first overtime.
Yeah,
but it was Marty's shot, right?
Yeah.
Or was he the second overtime?
He was second overtime.
Okay. Well, I can't remember who scored in first overtime.
We did, I think.
Okay, both of us?
No, yeah, both teams. Because I think both.
But who scored for our team?
I don't know who scored for our team, but I remember both teams scored.
Yeah.
And then because everyone was like getting gassed, and so
I think we might have just got Kendrick another layup or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Marty's like at the elbow, and Marty's like a football player, so it was just like, he was a post guy, but he's on at the elbow, which is a far shot in Special Olympics.
Yeah.
And he shoots like the highest thing. It was like a movie, when they do like the music.
Yeah.
Super high arcing. That was gonna hit something, and then it just perfectly swishes through. And I just was like, that was like the biggest basketball shot of Marty's career.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was like,
yeah. So like if you wouldn't have missed that free throw, then Marty wouldn't have had that opportunity. So.
Right. So
and we won the game, so it was all good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
And then we had some other ones just Wednesday was always kind of fun.
Yeah.
To get the gold medal. Even like one year you didn't play. It was like sophomore year of college. And one year we tied.
I remember that.
Flip. It was super weird.
Yeah.
And did a coin flip, and we won off a coin flip. And I was
That's
like, oh my gosh, that's so weird.
yeah, because it was like 3 teams and you all
Yeah.
played each other.
And I think like because we lost by 9,
Hmm.
like two teams, everyone lost by 9 or something, or 1 or 9.
Yeah,
And it was just like, yeah, now we're gonna do a coin flip. I was like, you're just like watching it. It's like
yeah.
so intense.
Some of the coolest things we've ever done though through Special Olympics was definitely the NBA cares.
Yeah, that was
Would
really
you call it
cool.
like did they call that unified
Yeah,
game?
it's Special Olympics, NBA Care. I think it's just Special Olympics NBA Cares All Star Game,
Oh, because like they
but it's
partnered
like a
together.
unified thing.
Okay.
And it was like the top, like 12 athletes around the world
Yeah.
got chosen. Yeah, 6 per team, I think.
Yeah.
And
There was like dudes that could dunk.
oh yeah, like the guy from Canada could dunk. I think the guy from Japan. The guy from Japan.
Yeah.
China?
He was tall, but I don't know if he could dunk.
But the 2 guys from Virginia could dunk.
Yeah.
They could
Blake
dunk.
and Nate, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they could dunk, and it was just like, wow, it was insane. Like it
Hmm.
was so cool, and I kind of like at that moment when I went to the NBA Cares thing. Like one, it was cool for us because like we grew up like you're 8 years old. What do you want to do? I'm gonna play in the NBA.
Yeah.
That's what I went to as career day in second grade.
Yeah.
NBA player.
Where's the NBA stand?
And so yeah, that's what I dressed up as. And then like, when we got older, like middle school, all right, our only chance to make the NBA if you made the NBA.
Yeah.
And then like technically, I didn't play in the NBA, but I got to experience what it was like. And you did too with me.
Yeah.
Like riding the nice buses,
That was so cool.
getting all the free stuff.
Hmm.
Probably like when we got our jerseys, that was really cool.
Yeah, that was super cool. It was really cool for everybody there because obviously all those players put in a lot of work. And I mean, you can probably speak for it. Did you ever think an experience like that would ever pop up?
No, not really. I mean, in the back of my mind, it's like someday, it's like I'll have an asterisk by like, but I'm gonna experience something like the NBA. Like I didn't know what it was. Like apparently this is like the 9th year they did it, but I've never I never heard of it.
Yeah.
And I was given a speech for an event,
Hmm.
and then Nate from the Special Olympics Nebraska asked me after the speech, like, "Hey, would you want to apply for this NBA Cares game?" And you get to play with like Hall of Fame NBA players. I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna live out this dream, man. If I
Yeah.
get picked. And I remember I got picked and I called you, and it was just like everything came full circle from like me not being able to play
Hmm.
to you and I playing in high school, but then I had the surgery and it didn't work out for me like making a shot in a high school game
Hmm.
to now like, oh, we're gonna go and see what it's like to be an NBA player. Like it was so cool. And those jerseys was really cool. We got those 3 shoes from the WNBA player, Deladon.
Hmm.
And that was really cool. And just like meeting everybody.
Yeah.
Like there were other athletes out there, like, yeah, they like shoot hoops like 200 shots or 500 shots like I do. Like there are athletes out there that we want to be elite.
Hmm.
And we all got brought together for just this one game.
Yeah.
And I remember you said too, like, scoring isn't that big a deal. Like the reward is the game, and it's just an all-star game. It's not like it's a tournament. They just go out there. And I remember like they brought us out, we sat on the bench and watched like the halftime show do their routine. But I just went back to that moment where like dad told me I couldn't play anymore.
Hmm.
We were like 12. And now like it was kind of cool. Like I was 12 when that happened. It took me 12 years to get to this moment.
Yeah.
We were like 24.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was just like an amazing feeling. But then I remember that high school game was like, all right, I need to make at least one shot, just one.
Hmm.
And then I made my second shot, and I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah. An NBA Cares game, you mean?
Yeah, an NBA Cares thing.
Yeah. And you did a sick spin move on
Muggsy Bogues.
Muggsy Bogues, yeah.
Yeah, I was super pumped to play Muggsy Bogues. He's like the shortest guy to ever play in the NBA.
And he was trying hard. He was trying to steal it from you.
Oh yeah, like it was so cool because like I can only drill with my left hand, so I baited him without even knowing I baited him until after it was over because I went at him and his arm reached out for the ball and then I spun.
Yeah.
And then I think I shot it too far and hit back rim.
I know if you would have hit that, would have been crazy. Yeah, it was a good shot still.
Yeah.
Everybody came up to me and was like, man, Wyatt had a lot of points. Like, nah, he just had 2. And they're like, really? But it's just because those 12 years you worked in your shot, and your shot looks so good for your different form that people are like, man, that's a good shot.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of good shots, but they just weren't falling. Well, I was like same way. I was like, just let him make one shot. I
Yeah,
just won.
it was perfect too. I like got it like right at the free throw line and I switched it.
Yeah. And you remember you got like taken out by Muggsy Bogues too?
Yeah, because my right foot drags,
Yeah.
and so like I'm going, and he tried to steal the ball from me, and my right foot got caught up,
Mhm.
and I fell, and then I had like a cut and then bled or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, "You want to go back in?" It's like, "Yeah, I want to go back in,"
Yeah.
and I went back in. They had to like wrap my knee up.
Yeah. I remember seeing after games like, dude, I got scarred by Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah, because you could see it.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, we played like against McKenna Tumbo.
Hmm.
We
He was,
walked into the locker
how
room.
old is he?
I don't know.
He hardly played, but it was still
Yeah,
pretty
but it
cool. He
was
got
cool.
a,
Like
yeah,
he's a big advocate for Special Olympics.
cool.
And like we walked into the locker room and they didn't come yet. So one of the guys like looked at his shoe size and it was like a size 22.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
insane. Like I remember like sitting down next to Horace Grant, play with like Michael Jordan and Shaq.
Yeah.
And I just sat down to Horace Grant. I was like, "So what's Michael like?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, he's pretty cool."
Yeah.
And then Horace Grant was on my team. Tony Kukoc
Hmm.
was on our team. Tony Kukoc was so funny.
Yeah.
He was on the bench and he was like, "Yeah, just tell me when we need a three and I'll go in." It's like, okay. We had some cool WNBA players and
Yeah.
just like the WNBA and the NBA players. It's really cool that they did that for us. Like,
Hmm.
I know like they probably have a busy schedule and everything, but just like take their time and play with us. I think some of them thought it was just going to be like, not that competitive. And it was like, I could see the faces on looks on their face. It's like, oh, like they're going hard. Like,
Yeah. Like
oh,
they're here to
yeah.
play. And then wasn't your team down?
Yeah, we were
You're down a
down.
lot at half.
Yeah. And then we came back. I was in the second group.
Hmm.
So I was like off the bench. But then like the first group came in because like at the end they were saying like whoever would play the best would play at the end, but they just put in the first groups. But
Hmm.
I had this one guy in my group, Izzy, and he was like only 2 inches taller than me, but he could jump.
Yeah.
And he had like 8 points, which was a lot for Special Olympics.
Yeah.
And then like Chris, he made like that steal at the end, they inbound the ball underneath our basket, and Chris stole it and made the shot with one. It was crazy.
Yeah. It was like a flashback from that Celtics play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they played Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was pretty cool. Like the whole thing was a cool experience.
Yeah. That was a fun. I was like sitting with the rest of the chaperones. So I was Wyatt's chaperone. I was basically like his posse. I was just carrying his stuff.
Yeah,
Like, what do you do here? Oh, I just know him. I'm here because I know him. But then like our family kind of came. I was like, I don't really want to like sorry to my family, but I was like, I just kind of want to like experience this like kind of by myself almost.
yeah,
And that's super cool to just see you live out that dream and like see you on the court. And it's cool watching you play because you just get like this look in your eye, like you're just focused. Like you're trying to D up whoever you're trying to D up because like doesn't matter how you shoot, you can always
yeah,
put forth effort on defense. So
yeah, definitely. And it was kind of cool moment for me because like it was always like you were playing out there for both of us.
hmm.
Well, now I was playing out there for both of us in the NBA,
Hmm.
and like you're the first person I thought about. Like, yeah, I'm gonna play for West Side. We get experiences together. I never saw you during the game. I
Yeah.
saw like our whole family because they saw it courtside, and then Kenny showed up too.
Yeah, probably heard Justin yelling.
Yeah, so my friend Justin, who I've known for years, he came and it was just good because like dad couldn't come, so
Yeah.
somebody had to yell.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Justin's the dad, so that kind of helped.
Hmm.
And like I had no idea where you were, or I think you're on the other side, but I never like looked your way.
Hmm.
But it's just kind of cool. Like I've never watched it because it's just like I don't need to watch it. I experienced it.
Yeah.
I don't want to take away from like what I envisioned when I go back to that moment, like how I felt when I was out there, what everything looked like.
Yeah.
Because then you're just gonna think about the thing on the computer. And it's
Mhm.
like I don't want to see it.
Exactly.
But I bet it sounded cool though, because I think you watched it one time.
I watched it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so just them calling my name when I made that shot was probably sounded cool.
Yeah. They did a cool job of shooting it too because they announced you guys and it's like a real deal. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was a pretty sweet experience. The one we just did though was this past summer?
Yeah. I mean,
Like
so
almost a whole year ago now.
yeah. So this past summer, Wes and I got to live out like our ultimate dream together, which was to compete in basketball together as teammates at like the highest level possible.
Hmm.
So we got to go to Orlando in 2022 for the Special Olympic USA Games where we played basketball. And that was like so cool. Like to know we both got picked
Yeah.
and everything. And then like it was kind of like an emotional roller coaster because it was like we got picked, and then there was a whole thing with like COVID, and then like you were on the team, but then not on the team,
Yeah.
which was fine. But then then you were like on the team like the last 2 days. They said that they let everyone play, even if you were vaxxed or not vaxxed, and like it was just really cool. Like wow, we're actually gonna like do this
Yeah.
like together, and I just remember like walking out there. Well, back up. I got pneumonia like right before.
Oh, I know.
So it's
Yeah.
just like, well, I'm not gonna play. Like I was a little worried, but it was like, I'll make it. I just need the medication. I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Even if I sit the bench for the first game or two, I'm not gonna miss this opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out on the drive there, we drove all the way from Nebraska to Orlando, mom, dad, and I. And then like on the drive there, you called me. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna play. We're gonna let me play now.
Yeah, it was funny. I just like didn't. I decided not to get like vaccinated for my own like health
Yeah,
reasons.
yeah,
And I'm not like against people getting vaccinated either. Like I
right.
think that's a personal decision and I respect those decisions and had some, talks with Nate and we just like
Like
understood
respectfully
each other.
disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And then like once it was dropped, he called me right away. And the day before I was like at peace, like, must have not been like
like
God's
meant to
plan
be.
for us to play together. And I get a call and he's like, how soon can you get out here? And I was like, well, my flight leaves at this time.
Yeah.
And then uh for some reason did just like work out better that way. And so I was gonna get there on Monday and we played on Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or actually, no, wait, I did get an earlier flight, but me and Audrey missed the flight. We got there like at 3:30 a.m. and then missed our 5 a.m. flight. So then we didn't fly out till like 3 p.m. and got there at like midnight.
Yeah.
And we only had like 1 hour of sleep. And then we got there, we just kind of passed out. Tuesday comes, we play.
Monday. We played Monday.
We played Monday?
Did we? Yeah, because opening ceremonies was Sunday. We played
Oh, that
Monday,
was
dude.
it. It showed up on
Yeah.
opening ceremonies day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So got there Sunday night, slept, got some decent sleep, and then I'm still kind of tired, but like it was pretty cool putting on the jersey. I was wearing like somebody else's jersey because they got like sick or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
And so like you got it coming, and then like just playing like I just remember like the first game, like I was still kind of like weak
Mhm.
from like it was like the first day I kind of feel like okay, I think I'm actually gonna get over this. But I like
Yeah.
playing in the game, like I hadn't worked out for like a week or two.
Yeah.
And then I remember I made it like a D2. Everyone thought it was a three, but if it was online,
Mhm.
I just like drained it. And like that shot when you're like kind of sick and like you can't feel your body
Yeah.
and you shoot it and it's like perfect, but
Yeah.
you really didn't think about it.
That's what you gotta do sometimes. You just gotta let go of the thinking process and get into the trusting process.
Yeah. And so we won like the first two games. I think like 20 points.
Yeah. And then
And
we
then we
played
played
Florida, right?
Florida the third game.
They were
And we
freaking
lost by
good.
20 points, I think.
The coolest moment though was we were coming out of half and were we down 6 or were we down 9?
I think we down like 6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah. And then you come out and you just nail a 3.
Yeah.
And you could like it was fun. The most fun moments when we were down
Right.
because you and me would just get in the huddle like that almost like drives us and feels us more like, oh, our back's against the wall.
Yeah.
But the first game, you could tell some of our teammates how we didn't experience that situation a lot.
Yeah.
But then the second game we were down, they got like some confidence like
Right.
in them, like, oh, it's okay, like we can come back.
Yeah, we can do this.
Yeah. And it was a pretty close game. And then they just started lighting it up.
Yeah, we made like 5 threes in the fourth quarter.
Oh
It's just
my
like,
gosh, yeah.
and like when that happens in Special Olympics, like the quarters we play in at home are like 6 minute quarters, but in national we play like 7
Yeah.
with no running clock.
Mhm.
So I felt like we were out there forever.
Yeah.
And just like when you make 5 threes and you quarter like 6 or 7 minutes, it's like, okay, I don't know how we're gonna come back. We're gonna need a miracle.
Yeah.
That team was so good though.
Yeah.
Like their best players were the athletes.
Yeah.
They could jump so high.
It's like really quick hands too. So some passes that we were doing beforehand just weren't working.
Yeah.
Even the games we won by quite a bit, they were still tough wins. Like that Alaska team was pretty good.
Game was good. They were big.
Yeah.
And like I remember that game, like offensively, I played my worst game.
Mhm.
But like defensively, I played my best, I think. Because like I remember like
You shut down that shooter, right?
Yeah, I was on that shooter that was like kind of like my height almost, but he
Yeah.
could shoot the ball.
Mhm.
And I like got the ball on I think the left side, and shot a corner 3, and it hit like the back of the backboard, but it was still in because it bounced. And I just like yelled and I was mad. And then, but instead of like feeling down on myself, I like sprinted back down court and
Mm-hmm.
they threw it to that guy that I was shooting. And then right when he caught it, I got in his face
Mm-hmm.
and he made a move and I poked the ball loose. But instead of like pushing it out, I was like, it's gonna be their ball. So I like stopped it with like two fingers and then like pushed it your way.
Yeah.
And then you pass someone else and went on a fast break. And that's when we kind of made a run.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, like, and that was like second half.
Yeah.
We were always like close with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then Arizona was close too. We just always would make that run.
Mm-hmm.
And then like at the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, we played some really good teams. We played Michigan.
Yeah, man, they were good.
They were good, yeah.
I want to play them again.
And
like, I
then,
feel like we could stick with them. They had a really good Special Olympic player he knew basketball pretty well.
yeah,
Like, he knew how to.
him too. I remember,
Yeah.
like just like between games one time.
Oh, yeah, we were over there watching
Like
the traditional.
yeah.
Man, those traditional games were crazy.
Yeah, that was something to watch. The traditional games,
Yeah.
like those guys were so athletic.
Yeah, and a lot of them had good basketball IQ too.
Yeah, and so like we played Michigan and we lost, and that was pretty heartbreaking. Like back to like us being really competitive. Like I just felt so bad. Like I didn't score at all. I didn't help us offensively. Defensively, I thought I played okay,
Mm-hmm.
but like now we're not gonna get a gold medal. And like I just didn't want to talk to anybody, so I was like trying to hold it in.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, you gotta let it go, man. I was just like, dude, we lost our dream. We can't win the gold. Like just let me feel like happy for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, yeah, it still hurt. And, like talking to you, and then I think I talked to Dad later in the day. Like you two I went to, I could like really express how I felt because Dad played basketball and is really competitive too.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, well, we can still win a bronze. And that's what I was trying to tell our team. And most of them were cool with it. Some of our teammates were still kind of mad like me, but it's like, hey, we got a chance to win a bronze. So we go and play Texas. And like that was one of the most hyped games. And it was like for third place, not even first.
Well, you guys were playing so good.
Yeah, we played like we just as a team, like you and the other two unified players, played really well. And then like we just played good as a team. Like I remember our coach, Tim Hoffman, he said like that's the way unified is supposed to be played. And like they had like someone videotaping us. It could have definitely been like the video you watched. How do you play unified?
Yeah.
We were moving the ball well. Guys were scoring. I remember like I hit like a deep three at the beginning. Like it was really far. After I shot, I was like kind of looked what it was. Like, wow, that was pretty deep.
Yeah, those were cool moments when you would hit those threes. And then we were down and you came out and hit a three. That was freaking hype.
Yeah, so
that was sick. The place was going crazy. I was going crazy. That was awesome.
That was like, I felt bad because we lost. So what happened was we were up like 14 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came back on us. But it was kind of like too like we know basketball, like, okay, we played really good and we're gonna play good in the second half. But it's like you played really good in that, like it's like an unbelievable good, like as a team. And then like you knew like we would kind of like probably cool down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But we still scored. But we were down like I think we were down 43, 45. And then like I hit that three. And what I remember before that was like there's like a minute, I think, left or something like that, minute 20. And I remember watching this documentary about like just NBA players that like went off. And this guy that played for the Pistons back in the early 2000s, Chauncey Billups, he's like, I'm not afraid to miss. And I just like remembered that for some reason. I was like, yeah, I'm not afraid to miss either. I don't care if I miss it. Like I'm the one that could take this shot because I practiced. So I like called for the ball. I banked it in. It was just like personally, it was like one of the best sports moments of my life because it was such high pressure.
Yeah.
It was a big game. And then we never scored after that. And we lost.
I know. I missed a three after that. So, because they came down and hit a three then.
Yeah, like an athlete came down and hit a three and he shot it granny style.
Oh my gosh, that was
because his arms crazy. Were like, I think he had CP and his hands were like kind of inwards. So like he had to shoot it that way.
Yeah, it looked like a good shot still.
Yeah,
you could tell he practiced it.
Yeah, it a lot. And like I think I did. I told someone one time, like, if you're just a fan and you wanted to watch Special Olympics, like, you would think, like, oh, that's a pretty cool moment. Like, just like two athletes, like, going out hitting threes back and forth.
Yeah.
And just like, yeah, part of me was.
Any game, that's a cool moment.
Yeah, that is. I mean, and it's just like, I guess I always feel bad because, like, oh, should I have gone up? Like, I was on my guy, but I was like, should I have just gone up and guarded him? Like, in his face? And you always run through that, but. I mean, people always say, like, oh, you guys should have played in the second division. And I'm like, no, we just played in the top division.
Dude, I do not understand that with people.
Yeah, it's just like
I'm like,
we
what?
did
I would
play.
rather lose in the top division than win the second division any day.
Yeah, it's like we literally finished like fourth in the U.S.
Yeah.
And like the teams that were ahead of us were Florida,
Yep.
uh,
Michigan.
Michigan,
And then
Texas, and then us. And it's like all those states you think like they are basketball talented.
I'm not
Nebraska,
gonna
you just think of like, football.
I'm not gonna okay, I'm gonna call them out. If you look at the box score of that Texas team,
Yeah,
it's gonna go against what I said earlier about unified players taking over. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah,
Like that was frustrating.
yeah.
I mean, they were good.
They were good.
Yeah. And I just, yeah, that game at the same time though, like I'm same as you. If I just would have hit that three at the end too, like I missed it, hit back rim, felt good. I still think about that. Like, dang man, if I would just hit that, like I would have gave us the lead. And that was a good time to like nobody was on me either.
Right.
I didn't kind of want to take it because I was like, I wanted a special Olympian to be in that moment, but I was so wide open as the end of the game.
Right.
I was like, I gotta shoot this.
Or was it top? Were we? If you would have hit it, would it have been tied? Or
We
still
would have
down?
been. I think when you hit it, we went up one. That dude hit it. They went
Yeah.
up
Then they went up
two.
two.
Yeah, so we've been
So
up
then
one
you
again.
would hit, we went up one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then some other stuff happened, and we tried to get steals. And when they fouled, they made free
Yeah.
throws, and they won.
Sometimes I'm like, should I yell really loud for the ball back and made another one?
Should have.
But you
Yeah.
never want. You never know.
I think you were on the other side of the court because I definitely would have been looking for you.
Yeah.
I was like always like coming down the court looking for a three to come off for you. So.
But then like, dude, like just like being in that moment, being able to compete
Yeah.
at that high level, like we never thought, like go back when we were like 11, 12 years old, like, oh man, it's over. Like,
yeah.
Wyatt's not gonna play sports anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna be the manager for your teams, Weston's teams, and but then like we did it. Like that was kind of like our last thing of unified together. I guess for a while. I mean, you never know. Okay? Now that you moved to Colorado and I live in Nebraska, we don't play unified much anymore, or not at all, really.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was a cool way to end it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're both like, all right, we're in Colorado. Like, this is what we're gonna do. Like, we're gonna go play nationals together. So
Yeah, it's not always gonna end in like a fairy tale moment
no,
either. Yeah, but those moments, like the moment you hit those threes in those games, and just being on the court and warming up and
yeah,
wearing the
hanging
same
out with the
jersey.
guys,
Yeah.
and getting our cool jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just a great experience overall.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's hard. Like, think about like, so I went to USA Games in 2018 for tennis. Like, if you lose singles, you can maybe win in doubles, which happened to me.
Yeah.
But with basketball, it's like, nope, you got one shot. So
Yeah.
here we go.
You got one opportunity.
Yeah. So, and like we said, like it was cool. I didn't know if we would be able to play in the top division, but we did.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy.
And you always kind of going up to like, I don't know if I deserve to be on the A team. And I'm like, the only reason why it's hard for you to be on the A team is because of your physical disability. But like skill wise and IQ wise, you're definitely top level. Yeah, you just gotta, and like it was cool after we lost. You're like, I gotta work on and get my shot off quicker for in the next 4 years.
Yeah.
To hopefully be on the next team.
Yeah.
And so that's cool too, because when Special Olympics does that, they showcase their higher athletes. It gives them goals.
Right.
And it sets the bar high. I feel like with Special Olympics, people who don't understand disabilities or maybe just don't push people they know with disabilities kind of like can hold them down. It's like, no, like doesn't matter disability, not disability, keep pushing people and pushing yourself and those around you to get to that next level. Yeah. Even if it's just like a little tiny level, like still counts. You're still moving forward, still moving up. So
yeah, I feel like people think like, oh, there's no elite division. And it's like, no, we want to be good. Mm-hmm. It's just like when you would play. There were players on our high school team that didn't want to play summer basketball. Yeah. They would like play baseball, or they just wanted to do the high school stuff. Yeah. Which is fine. Mm-hmm. But there are players like you and I that we want to get better. Mm-hmm. And we want to be really good at like a sport or two. And there are a lot of athletes out there like that too. Like I'm here to have fun, yeah. But I'm here to try to be the best I can be. Mm-hmm. And like the USA Games, like you can showcase that. And the people that, the Nebraska Special Organization, like they can see it because they go to the events. Like, oh, like this player's really good at this sport and this one's good at that sport. And yeah, it's because like maybe they're one of the better players on their team. But also, the rumor gets around like, oh, they practice at home. Yeah. They really work on their game. They know the game. So, I mean, we just want to be like compete at the highest level like anybody else.
Yeah.
And so,
It's
but then
just more
too,
about seeing how great you can be.
yeah,
And if you're not gonna put in the work, people who like I don't know. And it was just frustrating the guys I played with at all levels who would complain about playing time, but then wouldn't go above and beyond with the work they put in outside.
right,
Even for Special Olympics, sometimes coaching, I'd be like, I know you're not practicing because what I've told you to practice has not got better.
yeah,
And just because you have disability doesn't mean anything. You got a job. Okay, just 15 minutes a day can make this better,
yeah,
no matter what situation you're in. And that was always a motivator. We kind of would have those little competitions growing up, like, how long did you work out today? Which, now that my degree's in it, there's like, you need rest too. We both have
we
gotten
were
better.
terrible at that.
But yeah. Well, we were also like teenagers. You don't
Yeah,
really need a whole lot of rest when you're a teenager.
about recovery, like,
Yeah, but teenager, you have all that human growth hormone. You recover so fast.
oh yes, I guess that's true too.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't feel like I did, but
Yeah, it might have been a little different with CP.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like, I mean, yeah, like, so I played basketball and tennis, and then like Wes would play me in tennis sometimes, so we shoot in like the YMCA gym in Fremont where we grew up with no air conditioning, and so we'd shoot in there in the morning. Then we go play tennis like the hottest time of the day outside,
Mhm.
and it was great. Like those 2 summers, like I think it was after sophomore year and going into sophomore year and going into junior year, right?
Mhm.
Those were like the best because it's like we literally didn't do anything but work out with each other. I think one summer we barely saw any of our friends.
Yeah, and like I don't regret any of that. I'd rather
No,
put in the work, and because then in high school I didn't feel, I never felt like you said, I never felt bad for taking a last second shot or like scared to, because if you put in the work, and our friend, Mitch Hahn, playing overseas now, putting up 30,
yeah,
he was also a great teammate to have because he was always putting work. I think people always thought like we were the hardest workers, or they were like, Wes, you're such a hard worker, just because I am not a basketball body. But I think people slept on Mitch's work ethic.
oh,
Like that
by
dude,
far.
yeah.
Like Mitch was just way more athletic than we were.
Yeah, he had a basketball body, but he definitely put in more work than me.
Yeah,
And then you put in more work than me. So when people would say that to me, I'm like, well, you obviously don't see behind the curtain. So I never let that go to my head. And like, you guys were two people that always just kind of drove me to push my game and just be better. And
yeah,
like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a lazy person sometimes when it comes to working out. People are like, oh, you always were in the gym, always working out. It was always super hard sometimes for me to go start a workout or go start a run or go start shooting baskets or do a drill I didn't want to do.
yeah,
I'd be like, you know what, like these guys are doing it. Or I think about my teammates. And I think when you connect any goal, it doesn't have to be physical either, to the people around you, it helps you when you don't have the motivation to go do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, like I I think I was just like used to it. Like I remember you asked like, how do you do the same workout every day? It's like, dude, I just do it. Like I don't have practice like you do. I practice like once a week
Mm-hmm.
during the season, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's over. So like from April to next December, I'm just like practicing by myself. And yeah, it gets boring, but it's like I was just so used to it. It's like didn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, like I mean, you kind of whatever you want to do, like sports or work or whatever. Like you got to make sacrifices, and I sacrificed like friendships and just a social life.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, oh, it'll be worth it in the end. And like it was. We got to play together at Net USA
Mm-hmm.
games. I went to USA games 4 years before that for tennis.
Mm-hmm.
I played in some really elite tennis tournaments. And just like, and you meet people like us that are like, yeah, they practiced just as hard as we did. Like
Yeah.
they wanted it. There's other people out there like us with or without a disability.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and like you practiced hard because then you went off and got a scholarship to play college basketball,
Mm-hmm.
which is like, not a lot of people do. But I think sports also, whether it's special Olympics or high school, it like helps you in the real world to face adversity.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't win gold. So, yeah. So we've been through a lot of hard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then we know too, like we're so competitive. And I don't know if I'll get picked for the next USA games. It's gonna be super hard for me because I've done tennis, I've done basketball. So I don't know if they would ask me. If they'd ask me to do both, I don't know what I'd choose right now.
Yeah.
But
You got some
like,
time to
yeah.
to
But it's
decide.
like for basketball, it's like, oh, we didn't get a medal.
I know.
We need to go back.
I know.
But then like for
Redemption.
tennis, it's like I didn't win gold in singles. I need to go back.
Yeah, I know
Like
that too.
like there's that itch of like you're never satisfied.
Hmm.
And I think
And
that
that's like the fun part.
yeah, that is. And like you see a lot of Special Olympians like that, like, yeah, I did good last season, but I could do better, you know?
Hmm.
And just like any athlete. So I think people think like Special Olympics, like, yeah, we're out there to have fun, but we're just like any other athletes.
Hmm.
We have that itch to want to get better, and we're never satisfied because we can always do better the next season.
Hmm.
So, real quick, one last question. So, like growing up with me with the disability and everything, like, my mom and dad, like sometimes, like I was basically treated like the youngest child.
Hmm.
You know, now did that ever like bother you, or like was it kind of hard because it was like sometimes like so our sister, we had two older sisters, and Jesse's 3 years older than us, so it's you, me, and Jess. We all grew up in the house, and then Michaela was off to college
Hmm.
at that time. But like, did you ever feel like it was hard because like, yeah, I needed the attention, but sometimes you didn't get the attention that you or Jesse deserved from mom and dad because I was always sick, or how'd you feel about that?
Yeah, at times definitely felt like kind of put it in the back seat.
Right.
Same time, you realize, our mom and dad did the best they could, and they always tried to balance their attention and time with all of us.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was just needed that most of that was going towards you because it was a pretty serious situation too.
Yeah.
And, the past couple years, you kind of like sometimes that can turn into certain behaviors that I've seen when I was like younger.
Right.
And then you just kind of realize like you in your head can create the scenario of, I'm just like second place or I'm just second option.
Yeah.
And then realize like, hey, like you were doing your best, your parents are doing their best, Wyatt's doing his best. Like everybody's just trying to do what they think is the best for that situation.
Yeah.
You might like just be looking at it wrong. So I just changed my like the way I looked at it. So they call it like a frame. Like there's 1,000 different ways to look at a situation. So how we like lost in Florida. We looked at it one way when it was happening. We probably looked at it another way 5 days later. We probably looked at it another way 6 months later. We're looking at it another way now. So just kind of switching how I look at it and realize that it did maybe affect me at times, and it was hard, and I felt kind of like I said, put in the back seat a little bit. But it made me, and like that those times too, what made me like a stronger like mindset and kind of more self-aware in certain ways. And I was a big observer,
Mhm.
so I observed a lot of things, and all my good attributes as a person are from like our mom, like taking care of us and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm a lot more like um mom than dad. Our sister's more like her dad, and I feel like you're like a mix of both and kind of like a little bit of like
Yeah.
just why it's weird. It's like
Yeah. Because I just like I'm probably maybe favorite dad a little more just on some stuff, but like
mhm,
whole motivational and watching like motivational videos. I
mhm,
think I get that from mom and stuff.
yeah,
But then like just like not that mom did it, but like it's like your dad would always be like, all right, you just gotta put your head down and just keep at it. And they both told us like, life isn't fair, so you just really need to suck it up.
yeah.
Okay.
And
Like,
kind of like the way we worked out was maybe more like our mom too, because
yeah,
she would go to same thing you did. She would go to a tennis court and sit off the wall for hours, and
yeah,
was an underdog and in college and became number one tennis player, and was put on the back burner too in our high school team because it was just stupid high school politics and
yeah.
who and all that BS. And
And how much tennis you play each summer is
yeah,
dumb.
so I think action wise, like I've learned a lot from our mom because we observed her so much. She was a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah,
So like I'm like, man, I feel like we would not have be good as people if our mom worked a job.
no,
And I was like, man, I think I just would have been a jerk, like as a person.
yeah.
Because I was just always getting in trouble. So I needed somebody constantly just call me out and keep me in line.
I feel like we both were like there was like you would be bad and then you turn good and then I would be bad.
Yeah.
Then we were both bad because like it was like with a twin, especially like when we were really young,
hmm
you never ran out of dumb ideas.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't have a dumb idea, you had one. And if you didn't have a dumb idea, I had one. Like, hey, let's just do this.
Yeah.
And we will not share that on this podcast. Don't want to influence children to do some of the stuff we did.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was fun growing up. There's always someone to play with, always
hmm
fun to hang out with.
Yeah.
And I think too, like you knew me, I needed you, and
hmm
we both pushed each other. That's the
hmm
thing too, is like I think because of our situations, that's how we like succeeded in not just sports but life. We just like kind of had to grow up a little bit. Like you did kind of have to be the older brother
hmm
and watch over me. Like I remember mom and dad being like, "Take care of Wyatt. Don't let anything happen to Wyatt when you go out."
Yeah.
And then you would always say like we'd go out and you're like, if anything happens, your mom and dad are gonna kill me. So don't do this or
Yeah.
whatever. All right. But yeah, I mean, I think we just because we grew up fast, we just kind of had to mature a little faster.
hmm
It's something that it's good now, but like as a kid, it was hard. Like I don't want to like be sick and stay home or life isn't fair because I don't get to go on the basketball team or play pickup basketball or whatever.
hmm
And I think that's why we were just tough. Like it's mentally like, all right, we've been through our stuff. They just losing a basketball game.
Yeah.
We can get through it.
Like we decided not to be victims of our situation.
Yeah. And like we said before, like you got the lucky side of, the situation we were born, but like we both just took my disability and yeah, having disability is not great. Like there's nothing special about having disability.
hmm
What makes it special is the people that have it because then they don't let their disability define them. Like they do things that, doctors and probably family members and friends thought they'd never be able to do. And that's what special illnesses like really shows and it's all about.
hmm
So yeah, special illnesses give us a lot of great moments.
Yeah.
Together.
That's what I think about too. It's like if you didn't have cerebral palsy, there's like a million different lives we could have lived. But like this one's pretty awesome because we got to go to NBA All-Star weekend.
Yeah.
We've been all over the country watching you play tennis. I mean, you've started 2 podcasts, this being one of them.
Yeah.
We played in Florida, where they played the NBA season during the COVID season.
Yeah. We went to Seattle for the first national games I played in.
Yeah.
Got to meet Jen Latta from ESPN, meet some ESPN people. That was cool.
Yeah, that was super cool when you were on ESPN.
And then we just like had cool moments, like we said, like that shot I made at the buzzer, and then just like playing that high school game together. Like
played on the Nebraska court.
Yeah, we played on the Nebraska court at several girls' halftime games, and that was really cool. So just like if I didn't have disability, we wouldn't have all those great moments. So I think like we've just had a lot that we can be thankful for, and all because of Special Olympics and because of our family that pushes us to want to be the best. So
I think too, just we're more grateful for things. A lot of times I'm like checking myself, like you're taking this for granted. Like I went for a run today and how I was running, it's like not everybody gets to run like that or can run like that like right now due to health issues or physical limitations, and might be like a real struggle for some people. And just being able to like run is something I'm really thankful for, and like lift weights, and obviously everybody can do that, but to a certain degree and certain extent, and being able to play basketball when I was in high school and college. So
yeah.
Well,
thanks for joining us on Brave in the Attempt, Wes, and
thanks.
Probably have him on again, talk about some stuff, and stay tuned for more episodes on Brave the Attempt, and thanks for listening. See ya.